beautiful people. Today, I'm doing a video that I feel like in my heart and soul, I really need to do this. Right now where I live, it has been snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm, and I feel like I need to know that summer is coming, that the end will come. It's just snow. Everywhere I look is snow. Anytime I look outside, there's more snow. It's just white everywhere. And honestly, like, it's pretty cute. It's pretty cute out there. I do like to look outside and see some snow, but it's just, it needs to know when it's too much, and it's just too much right now. We don't need this. So what I'm doing to combat this is I'm going to be reading some summery books, some vacation-y books, some tropical books, something to get me out of the winter funk that brings some light and some sunshine to these winter days. It is actually a really beautiful sunny day right now, but it is also very snowy. It snowed again last night. So what I've done is I've gone through my bookshelf and I kind of picked out every book that was kind of speaking to me, that it would give me summer vibes, a lot of like quick, easy books. So I'm gonna quickly go through those, and then for this week, I'm just gonna read them and I'm gonna have a grand old time and picture myself in the sun and on vacation. So this is the stack that I picked out, and I'm just gonna kind of mood read a little bit, see what I'm feeling. So I have She Started It by Sian Gilbert. This is a thriller, and I think it's about like a bachelorette party on vacation down south somewhere, so summary. Ellen Hildebrand's Barefoot. Summer Kisses at Mermaid Point by Sarah Bennett. All Are Welcome by Liz Parker. I don't actually know if this is like a summer book, but that cover, like, that's gotta be a summer book, right? It has to be. Beach Read by Emily Henry. I'm so excited to read this book, and I've been putting it off because I want to read it in the summer, but I feel like this week might be the week. It might be time for me to finally make the plunge and just read this book, because I know I'm gonna love it. I know this is good potential to be a 5-star read for me. I have The Unhoneymooners by Christina and Lauren. And then I have 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand. This is on my February TBR, so I really do want to get to this sometime this week. This is gonna be one of the priority books for me. So I'm just gonna kind of look through this pile and see what I'm feeling, see what I wanna start with, and then I'll let you guys know what I decide. Right now in between The Unhoneymooners and Beach Read. I've heard such good things about both of these books, and they're both really, really popular, and I'm so torn. Oh, what do I pick? What do I pick? What do I pick? I think I've decided. I've decided on the first book. It's gonna be The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This just, I feel like it's gonna hit the way that I need it to hit right now. I need something light, something quick, something that gives me summery vacation. And I think this is just gonna check all those marks. The Emily Henry book, I think I do wanna read that this week as well. So we'll see if I get to it, but I know that one, like Emily Henry always has more of like serious undertones to her books. And I want something a little fluffier right now. And we'll get to the serious undertones maybe later. So I'm gonna start reading this, and I'm really excited because this is like an OG book talk book. I've had it for so long. I got it super cheap on Book Outlet, and I've never read it. I'm gonna jump into that. I'll probably talk to you guys once I've read a little bit of it. So excited to start this book that I just didn't tell you guys what it was about. So I'm just gonna give you a rough little summary. I know this is a popular book, so a lot of you have probably already read it, But if you haven't, basically it's a little rom-com book, and it's about our two main characters, Ethan and Olive, and they don't like each other. They know each other because both of their siblings are getting married to one another. And this book starts out with them in the wedding. So Olive is her sister's maid of honor, and then Ethan is his brother's best man. So they're at this wedding, and then everybody at the wedding gets food poisoning. And Olive and Ethan don't, because they're the only ones that ate something different. So of course, the couple that just got married now cannot go on the honeymoon because they're too sick and it's non-refundable. And because Olive and Ethan look so similar to their siblings, they are going to pretend to be on a honeymoon and go on this trip for them since they can't get a refund on it anyway. That's where we're at. I'm only like 30 pages into it so far. I'm just a little bit of the way, but it's really cute so far. I think it's gonna give me all the little vibes that I want. I'm looking outside now and the blue sky's gone. It's just overcast and sad again. So this is exactly what I need today. I'm about halfway through The Unhoneymooners now, and this book is really cute. I'm really liking it so far. It has a lot of like cringy moments in it, but like funny cringy, because these two people have gone to this resort in Maui, and of course they're pretending to be newlyweds, right? So they're doing all these newlywed things, like couples excursions and massages and things, and they just keep seeing people that they know there as well, and they're pretending to be married, and nobody knew that they were even engaged, right? They just get themselves in such awkward situations where you're like kind of laughing, kind of cringing. It's kind of just, it's funny. Through this whole thing, you're kind of seeing them go from people that don't like each other to people that are kind of like, oh, maybe we're friends. And like, you know, by the end of it, they're gonna love each other, right? And I will say, I do feel like I would enjoy this if it was a dual POV, but you're only seeing from our female main character's point of view. And maybe that's only because I read a lot of dual POV books and I generally enjoy them, but I want to see his side. I want to see what he's thinking. I want to know if he's someone who has harbored feelings for her all along, but doesn't know how to tell her, or if he genuinely did not like her from the beginning. And I guess that's just going to be a reveal that we get at the end to know. I feel like they didn't like each other. I think both of them didn't, but he's definitely coming around. However, there was a scene that made me question, maybe he did like her all along and was just pretending not to like her. This is a good one so far. It's making me like laugh out loud in parts. Like I'm having like an enjoyable time. Just the situations these people are getting themselves into are just redonkulous. Is when you know that the main character is making a bad choice and you know it's gonna blow up in their face eventually, and that's what's happening right now. Is that you know something's gonna happen. There's gonna be some turmoil because of poor decision making. There was a right choice to be made, a conversation to be had in this book, and it was not had. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting now for that turmoil to happen, the conflict. It's now a new day. I did finish The Unhoneymooners last night, and I have some beef with this book. Oh my gosh, this book was on a path to become a 4-star read. I thought this was going to be 4 stars up until about here. I got this far in the book and I was eating it up. I thought it was good stuff, right? I liked our main characters. And then Ethan had to go and screw everything up. And I was all team Ethan until he decided to be an idiot. Ethan was an idiot. And now I can't root for these two because Ethan went and messed everything up. In little rom-coms like this, I love it when the guy is like down bad for the girl and will like stop at no ends and just is all in with her. And that's what I thought that Ethan was. I thought that Ethan was just a great guy. And then something happened at the end of this book and he lost all of my faith. Let's say that. My faith in men is gone. I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but just bad vibes. Truly bad vibes. If you liked him at the end, we just have different taste in men, I guess. All in all, 3 stars. Lost a whole star for the last 50 pages of this book, but 3 stars. I would still recommend it. It did what it was meant to do. It was a little rom-com. It was cute. It wasn't any deeper than that. It was a rom-com. Okay, so I finished that book, and then I was trying to figure out what book I wanted to read next, and really the proper choice here is to read the Elin Hilderbrand book that is on my TBR for February, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna read that one next. I'm going to read She Started It by C. Ann Gilbert. This book has been sitting on my TBR for quite a while, and I feel like I need a little bit of a switch up from traditional romance type books, because I read The Unhoneymooners, and then before that I read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and that one was a little like romancy, and now I'm feeling a little romanced out. And this one still gives summer vibes because they're in actually it's like pretty similar to The Unhoneymooners, because in The Unhoneymooners they're on vacation on a honeymoon, and this one they're on vacation on a bachelorette. So very similar vibes, but this one's like a thriller book. I did take the dust jacket off because if you read with the dust jacket on, you're a psychopath. We'll leave it at that. So I'm gonna jump into this and we'll see if I like it. So the way that this book starts out is basically the owner of this private island finds one of the people who have been staying on the island, who is the bride to this bachelorette, and she's covered in blood, clearly in shock. Nobody else is with her. And then she asks the bride, you know, where are all your bridesmaids? And the only thing that she says is, it all went wrong. She started it. What happened? And then it jumps to, I think it's, 4 days earlier. So now we're gonna figure out who started it and what happened. Okay, and then it starts out with this person named Annabelle, and this is like the 4 days prior to the bride being covered in blood, and it shows the letter that the bride had sent Annabelle asking her to come to her, what do they call it? Hen party, that's what it's called. I don't know if that's something that like other countries call a bachelorette, like in Europe and places, but it's not something we call it in Canada. Anyway, and she asked her to also be a bridesmaid in her wedding, but they haven't talked in 10 years, and Annabelle actually kind of picked on Poppy, who's the bride, when they were in high school. And she says the trip to the Bahamas is going to be totally complimentary. She won't have to spend a penny. This gives me bad vibes, okay? This is giving me she is orchestrating some crime about all of the people that have wronged her on some private island where nobody can scream for help. That's what it's giving right now. Anyway, this is not spoilers. I'm on page 3, okay? Don't come for me, please. Another new day, and I have an update and a confession. Let's start with the confessional, okay? Let's start there, and then we'll make the way to my book update. So if you watched my last video, you would have seen that I did a really big book haul, and in that video I said that because I bought so many books recently, I'm putting myself in a book buying ban, and I've already failed that. I bought 4 books. To be fair, it was either a really anticipated book or good deals on all of these, and now I'm on a book buying ban, okay? Now I'm on a ban. Hold me to that. I wanted to show you what books I got though. I'm really excited about Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is the only like new release that I bought out of all of these. I love Ali Hazelwood's books, and I'm really excited that she's written something that's a paranormal romance. It's giving me Twilight vibes. I'm pumped about it. I've heard really, really good things. A lot of people have really enjoyed this that I follow and trust. And I'm gonna be reading this soon. It looks really short too. It smells like new book. I then was just at a secondhand store and I found The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This one is one that I saw Rachel Catherine read and recommend. I think it was even in some of her favorite reads of 2023, that video that she made. And I just saw it waiting there for me, so I had to grab it. Also, is this cover not like so cute? I love it, I love the colors. And this one's just like a little rom-com-y book. Also waiting at the bookstore for me was this very secret Society of Irregular Witches. Who named this book? This book, a lot of people give 5 stars, which you really wouldn't expect because it's kind of like a seasonal read. So this is one I'm not gonna read this anytime soon. I'm gonna pick this up probably next Halloween. I've heard great things about it, and I mean, it was a bargain, so I couldn't say no. Last one that I picked up, look how thick she is. This is a behemoth of a book. This is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book in the Dark Artifices series or trilogy, which is part of the whole Shadowhunter world. I'm slowly trying to collect all of the Shadowhunter books in these hardcovers because I have a lot of them already and I want them all to match. So this one was on a good sale. I haven't read any of the books. I don't even actually have the first 2 in this series yet, but I want at some point this year to start a full reread of all of the Mortal Instruments books, all of the Shadowhunter books, because I only made it through maybe like 6 or 7 of them when I was in high school, which sounds like a lot, but when you look at the whole series, there's so many. So that was my little book haul. I hope you enjoyed that. And now please hold me accountable to not buying any more books. And then I just wanted to give you a little update of where I'm at in She Started It. I'm over halfway now. Where am I? I'm on page 204. And there's a little over 300 pages. There's like 330 pages in this. So I'm really hoping that I can finish this book today. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I think I know where the story is going. Like, I would be really surprised if there's a plot twist that shocks me with this one, which is unfortunate, which means that it, you know, the rating is probably going to reflect that, but I'm enjoying it. It took me a little bit to get into to kind of understand the characters, because there are a lot of different viewpoints and characters, and just figuring out who is who just took me probably longer than it should have. But this really reminds me, I don't know if you guys have read it, but it's Wild Girls by Phoebe Morgan. That book has the same plot as this one. Are they gonna be the exact same book, just with different settings? That one was set, I think, in Africa, and then this one is set on like an island somewhere, a Caribbean island or the Bahamas, something like that. So far, they're basically the same book. Like literally basically the same. Questionable. But I like that book and I'm enjoying this book too. So I'm gonna hopefully sit down and finish this tonight so that I can hopefully finish at least one more book during this reading series as well. But I feel like this is doing the trick. Both of these books that I've read so far have been very, very summer vibes, very tropical vibes, vacation vibes, and it's getting me out of the funk a little bit. I think this is doing exactly what I needed it to do. So I'm gonna read this for a little bit and I'll see you guys later. I've got myself some ice cream and now I'm just going to read my book in bed for a little bit. I read a little bit just before now, but I really want to finish this tonight, so I'm just gonna sit here and read. And what's more motivating than a little bit of ice cream? Guess what? It's another day and another book haul. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know what happened to me where I just need a little dopamine hit every time I go out. But here we are. I went to Valley Village today because I needed to look for some pink items of clothing because my friend is having a bachelorette party and it's Barbie themed and I don't already own a lot of pink clothing. So I went to look for some of that. I did find a nice pink pair of jeans, so super pumped about that. But guess what else I found? I happened to just stumble. Oh, I fell upon some books. So I got 2 books. The first one is Project Hail Mary this is by Andy Weir. This is a book that I've had my eye on for a while, and I've truly just been waiting to see it at Value Village because I always see his other book there, and I knew one day I was gonna go in there and I was gonna find this, and I did. So this is a science fiction. Other than that, I really don't know anything about it, but I hear that it's very good. Value Village was actually like pretty stocked with books today. There was lots of books that I recognized, and they had a lot of book of the month books as well, which I have never seen in there before ever. So that was really cool. I think sometime in the near-ish future, I'm gonna do a video where I read science fiction for a week. So this is perfect for that video. I have a couple other books I already have in mind that I already own as well. So keep your eye out for that. And then the other one that I picked up is The Goldfinch. This is by Donna Tartt. Donna Tartt, I think, is most well known for the book called The Secret History, or A Secret History, which is a dark academia book. Haven't read that, haven't read any of her other books, but I have seen a lot about them, and there's there's so much fuss made about these books that they are just so good, and that she writes such deep, impactful literature. So I'm really excited to see what this is about. This book, as well for other books, have won a lot of awards and things, so I'm expecting to be impacted by this. But it is a big, scary book, so it'll go in my little big, scary book section, and we'll see when I get around to reading this one. So that's my little book haul. So I'm gonna reinitiate the book buying ban at this point in time, and hopefully I last a little bit longer than the one day that I lasted last time that I did it. Whoopsie. Now I did finish She Started It last night. If I were to do a silent review for this book, let me just act out how that would go, okay? I'm gonna act that out for you. That's my review of this book. It was very meh. I had an okay time reading this book. I didn't have a good time reading this book. I did not have a great time reading this book, but I had an okay time reading this book. Really, I don't have that many thoughts about it. I am never going to think about this book again after I put it down after filming this video. I feel pretty indifferent. However, I will say every single main character in this book was so severely unlikable, and I know that that was on purpose. These characters were not made to be liked, and that was kind of the point of the book. But sometimes it's really challenging for me when I'm reading a book where nobody is likable and nobody has any redeeming qualities, because I don't care. I'm like, sure, like, just get rid of them. Do what we need to do in this thriller. Moving on. So I just didn't really care. There were some big reveals in this book that I feel like if you cared about the characters, you would be like really surprised by, I guess, but I just didn't really care. So here we are. It was entertaining enough to keep me reading to the end of the book, but it's not something I would really recommend to anybody else. But it still had a nice vacation setting, which is what I wanted. I'm gonna give it a 3-star. Anything lower feels like rude to it because I did finish it and I didn't actively dislike it. But anything more is really too generous. So I'm gonna give it a 3-star. And then this morning I started 28 Summers by Elin Hilderbrand. This is the last book that I'm gonna be reading for this video. Beach Read was there staring at me, just eyeing me down, telling me with its eyes, why are you not picking me up to read me? And I want to. I really, really do. I want to read that book, but I know that it's going to be 5-star potential. And I want to give it every opportunity that it can to be that 5-star potential. And through the month of February, I've read so many romance and like just fiction books that I feel like I'm a little bit, I don't want to say slumpy, but I'm a little bit kind of burnt out with my fiction reading right now, even though I'm enjoying it still. And it's not the right time. It's not the right time to be reading that book. I will be reading it soon, but I want to give it the opportunity to be the great book that I know that it's going to be. And that might sound crazy, but I'm a little crazy, so whatever. I've never read an Elin Hilderbrand book before, so I'm really excited to pick this up. So basically this book opens up and you see that our main character, Mallory, is on her deathbed. She has, I believe it's some form of cancer, and she's going on hospice, and she's not gonna be in the living world for very much longer. And I believe it's her son. Yes, her son Link is there with her, going through all of this with her. And she asks him to look into a specific drawer that she has in her dresser. mother. So he opens it up and he sees that there's this letter in here with somebody's phone number, and it just says to call this person. So that's what he does. But as soon as he says that his mother is going into hospice, this man says, I'm going to be there as soon as possible. And then it flashes into the past, 28 summers ago. So you're left wondering, how do they have this connection? What is the connection that they have? And now I think the rest of the book is broken up into the 28 summers leading up to her entering hospice. And we're gonna see what happens there. I'm gonna read a bit of this now, and then once I've read a bit more, I'll share some thoughts later on down the road. This will be the last book of the episode. Like I'm a TV show. Who am I? Wow, jump scare. Hi guys. Now a couple days later, and I just wanted to do a little wrap up for what happened this week. So as you guys know, if you've made it this far, these were the 3 books that I read this week. I'm gonna start with talking about 28 Summers because that's the one that I left off talking about, and you guys have a little bit of a cliffhanger now. What did I think of this? I didn't finish it. I'm really trying this year to DNF more books. Not that I want to DNF more books, but more so that I'm not putting myself through reading books that I'm not really enjoying, because I have so many books that I want to read, so many books on my physical TBR, but I just feel this need to finish a book once I start it, even if I'm not enjoying it. And that's what was happening with this one. I made it, I dog-eared the page in case I want to go back to it, but I made it to page 152, so I gave it a really good shot to see if I was going to like this. I gave it my best effort, and it might have just been right book, wrong time, truly. I did have a couple things that bothered me about this book. The first being that it was in third person, and usually that doesn't bother me too much. I definitely prefer first person, but being in third person, it never really throws me off enough to not like a book. But for some reason, just the way that this was written in third person point of view, I just had such a hard time jiving with what was happening, following like whose perspective we were coming from, because it would switch perspectives, but it didn't really say. You're supposed to kind of pick up on that based off of the fact that it was third person. I also, I got 150 pages in. This book, I think, is almost 500 pages. No, that's a lie. It's almost 400 pages. And it just felt like nothing exciting was happening. It was very much just like watching these people go about their lives over the years and seeing where the connection is. There's also some cheating that happens. This isn't really a spoiler because it's like very early on in the book that it starts, but there is some cheating that happens in this book as well. And I don't love that. So I'm gonna put this down for now, and I might pick it up at a later time, but I do kind of feel like it just wasn't a story also that was really for me and that I typically like. I might pick this up later on. I'm not sure when I will get back to this. I'm gonna say it's a soft DNF. Soft DNF could turn into a hard DNF depending on how I'm feeling, but no star rating for this one because I didn't finish it, of course. But I also finished She Started It. I'm gonna stand by my 3-star rating for this one that I gave it when I finished it. If you were to ask me now, a lot of the plot points in this book, even though I finished it a couple days ago, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you, and that's because I just didn't care. I didn't care. That's my summary of this book. It's just interesting enough for me to read it to the end, but I didn't care. 3 stars. The other one I read this week was The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This one, I think when I finished it, I said it was gonna be a 3-star. And sometimes when you read books back to back, you realize that the ratings that you initially thought that they were are not actually what you want to give anymore. And that's because She Started It, I gave 3 stars, and I really think that one's like a solid 3 stars. I liked this one better. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Again, the ending of it was just like not it for me. He messed it up in the end. He did, and that's not a spoiler. Not a spoiler, but to me, he messed it up in the end. And I didn't like that. Didn't love it, but 3.5 stars. Those are the 3 books that I read this week, or like 2.5 books that I read this week. Like, not great, but it definitely did what I wanted it to do. Today's another super gloomy day, and we're getting a big rainstorm now that's going to turn into freezing rain. I just don't know when that all's going to end. And these were just nice things to be reading this week to get me out of the winter blues. I did just a little sneak peek on what I'm reading now, though. I picked up Bride by Ali Hazelwood because I was so excited to start this book. I'm on page 97 so far, and I'm really liking it. I was kind of iffy on whether I was going to like this or not because Ali Hazelwood is an author that I really enjoy. Everything that I've read by her, I've really thoroughly loved and had a lot of fun reading, but this is a totally different genre that she's come into with this paranormal romance, and sometimes when authors switch genres it goes very poorly. It's really good so far. I'm hoping that I enjoy it all the way through. It is giving me all the Twilight kind of vibes with vampires and werewolves. Paranormal romance isn't really big right now, but I feel like this might be the start of it coming back, and we're gonna see more vampires and more werewolves coming back into the books that we have out and about in the daily world. 4-star or above feelings right now, which is really good after reading a couple of like mediocre books. To have a good one, this might be like my saving grace after all that. All right, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching today's video. So glad that you are here. If you've made it, comment your favorite summer book down below. I've read through a lot of my summer books at this point, and I'm interested in some suggestions other than Beach Read, because I know I need to read Beach Read. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next video.